All right, guys, good morning. Happy October. It's finally starting to get into just like the very beginning of fall here in northwestern Florida. And this is about the time of year that I like to start giving a lot more attention to this inshore structure like docks and grass flats and that type of thing. As those water temperatures start cooling down, all these fish are gonna start becoming a lot more active than they are in the summertime when the water temperatures are really hot. We're fishing the falling tide this morning. We're like 3 hours into that falling tide. So we're just gonna be fishing probably like a 5 to 6 hour stretch right through up until the middle of the day. The whole thing is gonna be falling tide. It's a little bit murky, more murky than it typically is, but I actually like that. I find that when the water's a little bit more murky, it seems like those fish are generally just a little bit more active. I think we're gonna do pretty good out here. And I've got some new baits that we are gonna be throwing around today, sent to me courtesy of Southern Salt. They are an American-made local company right here on the northern Gulf Coast. And their lures are crafted specifically for fishing areas just like what we have here in northwestern Florida, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and over into Louisiana. And that is why I picked this particular spot today. We've got lots of grass flats out here, lots of shallow dock structure, and there should be some pretty active fish. So I'm excited to get out here, throw some of these new lures around. Let's get after it, guys. We got probably like 5 hours. We're gonna give it out here this morning and hopefully we can find something. So I got all kind of really cool stuff. Southern Salt really hooked it up on this order. I've got a bunch of their hoodwink lures. These are the ones that have been out for a little while now. And they've got this really long kind of split tail on them. It has amazing action for flounder, redfish, speckled trout, snook bass, all that kind of stuff. So I got a few different colors of those. I also have one of their goat wake baits. This one's in the Houdat color, and this is going to be more of like a power fishing presentation, covering a lot of water really fast. And this is going to be great for shallow water grass flats, real similar to what we're doing today. But what I think I'm going to get started with is their brand new Menace shad. They hooked me up with a bunch of these in a couple different colors. This particular color here is the swamp gold, and it's kind of a darker like green color, and it's got some gold flake in it. Really pretty color. And then I've got another one in here that's going to be their ultraviolet color. This is more of your traditional white paddle tail. However, it's got kind of like a purple slick to it, like a purple like pearlescent when you put it in the sun, and it's got purple and silver flake. And I think I'm going to start out by throwing one of these right here. I'm going to start out by fishing one of these on, this is a bird of prey fishing tackle EWG belly weighted jig. This is a 1/8 ounce and a 2/0 size. These are perfect for fishing soft plastics like this. So the way I like to rig these up is I'll capture just about the first 1/4 inch of the bottom side of the nose. And the reason that I like this plastic choice that they use is it's extremely stretchy, and that allows me to slide and stretch that plastic over the weight on these EWG hooks and punch it right through. Make sure it's nice and centered there, and then that hook is going to tuck right into that channel on the top of the bait. And now we have this beautiful weedless presentation that has all that action on the tail. And I think that this is gonna do us pretty good. Now, normally when I'm fishing an area like this, I like to get started by just fishing some mullet flavored Pro Cure on a soft plastic like this, just to get a little extra scent in the water and help those fish find it. But since we're testing out this new color here, I just want to throw this just like straight out of the package with no scent or anything on it and just see how it does. The action on these is just incredible with that side to side wobble. I am fishing that on 15-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon leader. I might have to go down to 10 with the water being this clear, but we do have a lot of structure here, so if I can get away with 15, that's what I'm gonna do, because we do have the possibility of hooking some pretty big redfish in this area. And I do have 10-pound Power Pro braid rigged up on a 3000 Favorite Fishing Old Salty reel, and this is the Old Salty inshore 7'3" inshore rod. This is a medium power fast action rod. I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of working my way into some of this dock structure here. If I'm working an area like this that has lots of grass flats and lots of dock structure, if the tide is high, typically what you're gonna find is a lot of that bait is gonna push up towards those seawalls on the shallow ends of the docks, and those big predator fish will follow them up. And as that tide starts to go back out, all that bait is gonna follow that dropping water, and you'll start finding the fish further out underneath the ends of the docks. I'm just gonna kind of vary my retrieves this morning until we can see if we can figure out some kind of pattern to see what these fish are doing. Tons of bait out here this morning. Almost every single retrieve I've got Just like a line of pinfish following it back in. Try some steady retrieves here. I've been doing kind of a combination of twitch pause and like a slow lift and fall. Over these shallow grass flats, sometimes a nice steady retrieve works pretty well, just keeping it right up above the top of the grass there. The only difficult thing about fishing over grass like this is you can't really see the shadow of like a cruising redfish. So unless you can, oh, there's a fish. Nice trout right there. Nice speckled trout. That is a decent speckled trout right there. Let's net that guy. Come on. Oh, net's all fouled up. Come on. There we go. Nice speckled trout to start the day off right there on the menace shad. He absolutely choked that menace shad. I got that thing all the way down his throat on that bird of prey EWG hook. That is a nice speckled trout right there. Let's see if we can retrieve that menace shad from his gullet. Still in good shape, even with all those teeth. That tail did not come off. I'm impressed. All right, let's get a measurement on this guy real quick and see if we're gonna keep him. All right, so with a speckled trout in the state of Florida, where we're fishing, these guys gotta be between 15 and 19. That's your slot size. You can keep one over slot size, but I choose not to. So this one should be perfect middle ground. Probably, I'm gonna guess like maybe 17 or 18. Get that mouth closed right on the end of the board. And yeah, she's gonna go total length right about 18 inches. That is a nice speckled trout, and she is gonna come home with me for dinner tonight. All right, y'all, nice speckled trout right there on the Southern Salt Bait Company menace shad in the ultraviolet color. I'm stoked. We've only been fishing out here for about 10 minutes. We already got dinner, and that's just a nice keeper speckled trout in general. Beautiful fish. We're gonna get her in the cooler. Normally, I wouldn't keep one really any bigger than this. I typically won't even keep them this big. Usually that 16-inch range is what I like to keep, just so we can let the big ones go. That's gonna eat just fine. Beautiful fish. I'm gonna go ahead and pop her gills. I forgot my bait shears. Normally I like to just clip my fish right at the base of the gills. But we'll just pop her gills out so she bleeds out nice and quick, and then I'm gonna stick this in the cooler and we're gonna get to fishing. Some bait just got blasted over here, probably another speckled trout chasing them around. Something else I like doing when I'm fishing an area like this too is you'll see these two little white posts here, and a lot of times those will be markers for somebody's dock light that lives something just got busted right behind me right here. Those will be markers for somebody's dock light that lives right here on the water. And a lot of times, even after that dock light turns off early in the morning, those fish that were still kind of congregated around it and all that bait that was congregated around it overnight will still be sitting in this general area right where that trout we just caught was. Oh, we are on. As soon as it hit the water, this is another little speckled trout, I believe. Decent little speckled trout right there. Oh, we popped off right at the boat. See you later, buddy. Have a redfish sitting right there. We do got a pretty good sized redfish sitting right there. I drugged that lure right in front of his face and he didn't want it. The reds do seem to be being a little bit picky this morning out here. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do here, I don't know how well this is gonna work in this clean water. This is gonna be just kind of an experiment, but I'm gonna try to put something on that gives off a lot more action and makes a ton of commotion when you work it through the water. And this is the Goat Wake Bait by Southern Salt. This is in the Houdat color. And this is a crankbait that they have designed to run super shallow for fishing areas exactly like this. It'll hover just above the top of that grass and make a ton of noise as you retrieve it. You can do just a simple steady retrieve on these. You can retrieve it nice and fast. And we've got the guard dogs coming out. Spook all of our redfish that we were just about to throw out. That's all right. We'll go ahead and move on. Good morning, puppies. And that right there is the goat, guys. The other thing I like about these too is they're using BKK hooks on these, extremely strong, durable hooks, very rust and salt resistant. And try throwing the wake bait around for just a second here. The water's getting a lot more murky. And I think maybe throwing the wake bait and making just like a ton of noise as we work it through the water could potentially get some fish fired up if there's any around. We're starting to get into a little bit murkier water again. It cleaned up for a little bit there. And now it's getting murky again, which is good. I think we're gonna have better luck. And I'm also noticing it's starting to drop off just a little bit deeper. Probably about 2 feet of water is what we're sitting in now. That's a redfish right there. That's a nice redfish. He is super red. I can see him from a mile away. There he is. I still see him. Oh, he turned on the wake bait. Okay. He's interested. Cast it out past him. And let's retrieve it. Oh, dang it, dude. He smoked it and didn't get the hooks in him. Dude, this thing definitely gets these redfish fired up. That one was a crazy looking red color too. He was like actually like red, like red. Oh, dang, dude, I was hoping he would come back for it. I can't believe he missed those treble hooks. I think I saw him open his mouth and I saw him wake on it, and I thought that he had it. I probably pulled it out of his mouth is what happened there. God, this thing just has such a cool action to it. I'm definitely seeing a lot less activity as the day goes on. That could have a lot to do with, you know, water clarity later in the day, hotter temperatures. Like, you never really know, but there definitely is a lot less bait popping on the surface right now. So the bite might be getting a little bit tougher here as the day goes on. Not that it's been stellar at all. Oh, smoked it, smoked the wake bait. Smoked the wake bait, nice redfish. Huge head shakes on this fish. Smoke the goat. Oh, you stay out of that dock. 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 That was such a sick eat. I gotta get out away from that dock. Luckily, I left that heavier leader on so I could horse on him just a little bit. Come here, come here. Got him. Nice slot red right there on the goat. Here we go. Beautiful redfish right there. Nice mid slot range. Got him on the goat in the Hudat color. He smoked that thing right off of the surface, like right underneath the surface. He just slurped that thing up. He got both of those treble hooks just buried in his face. They do work. That switching over to that wake bait in this murky water as we go into kind of a midday bite. It's getting a little bit difficult out here. Going to that lure that makes all that commotion and has that nice rattle on the surface. That is so cool. And we are gonna keep this guy, so I'm gonna go ahead and unhook him and pop his gills. And we are gonna have a nice dinner tonight of redfish, speckled trout. Here we go. Go ahead and pop the gills on this redfish so he bleeds out. And this is a male redfish. You can tell he was making that drumming noise right after we caught him and I got him into the boat. The males will make that drumming noise, and that's how you know that this is not a female fish. So I am totally good with keeping that one. A lot of times if I don't hear the drumming, I'll put him back just so those females can go out and lay their eggs, make more of these little redfish. But this one, oh, he's coming home for dinner tonight. That's a good one right there. right, guys, I think that's gonna be just about it for this trip, but just closing thoughts. First time using the goat from Southern Salt. This is an incredible bait. It has just that amazing wobbling action in the water, super aggressive, fast action that just gets those fish turned on and really gets that reaction strike from them. Good little lure right there. In terms of their soft plastic, the Menace shad, especially this ultraviolet color that we caught that trout on, this is that brand new shad that they just dropped, and this thing is a killer. Awesome bait. They're pretty durable for what they are. I went through, I think that first one, we went through like 3 good bites on it before I finally had to switch it out. Using the EWG hooks like I am definitely tears these up a little bit more. It makes them a little more fragile because those fish will rip it off of the hook. Fishing these on jig heads, they're probably going to be a lot more durable. They just won't be weedless, so you kind of have to take that into account. But yeah, in terms of the plastic, man, huge fan. This color pattern, ultraviolet, I like it a lot. We also did get that one bite from that redfish on Swamp Gold. Unfortunately, that was another one that I yanked it out of his mouth before he was able to connect with the hooks. But yeah, big fan of the Southern Salt baits, guys. All right, guys, we just got back home, got the cleaning table set up. There is our beautiful 21, 22 inch redfish somewhere right in there. And then we've got our speckled trout, and this is the one that we caught on the Menace shad in the ultraviolet color. Look at that awesome trout. It's not often that I keep the speckled trout either, so I'm excited to eat this one. It's been several months since I've ate speckled trout. So I'm gonna show you guys how to get these fish cleaned up. It's a real easy process. You're gonna need a good sharp fillet knife. So I like to get started right here behind the pectoral fin and make your cut right behind the pectoral fin, and then you can follow that gill plate right up and get all that head meat until you get up to the base of the skull. Then you're gonna come in, turn your knife about 45 degrees pointed towards the back of the fish, and you're gonna wanna flex that blade out on that bone structure. You should be sitting right on top of all these bones right here that make up the dorsal fin of the fish. And I like to work with my blade cutting from the inside of the fish out. That way you're not cutting through all these scales. These fish are known to have some incredibly tough guitar pick like scales, and if you're trying to cut through them from the outside, it's going to be a pain in the butt. And then when I get to the tail, I like to use a tip of the knife, feel that spine, go over the spine, come out the bottom, and then you can just come straight off the tail of the fish. Take that knife, rest it on that bone structure, and just flex it out just like that, and just follow those bones all the way down until you get to the spine of the fish. And you're going to do this all the way from the front to the back. You've got a line of pin bones right there, so you want to take that knife, separate those pin bones, and that way you can skim down right over the ribs of that fish and get all that rib meat off of there. Just want to go all the way down to the belly of the fish, straight down the ribs, and then you can just separate the bottom of that fillet, and then I'll just kind of work it backwards just like this up to that cut that you made on the head. So now we're going to take the skin off, so I like to just get this fillet right on the edge of the table and just get that started right on the tail, and then you can just get a good grip on that tail, keep that blade nice and flat against the table, and run it right through the fillet. Redfish is nice and easy because that skin is real thick and durable, so you're not really having to worry about cutting through it. Just make a little V cut right about halfway between the head and the tail, just like that. You separate that little chunk and cut out all the pin bones in one shot, and then you have a nice, beautiful, boneless fillet. So that's it for the redfish. We're gonna get our speckled trout out, and I'm gonna show you guys how to clean that one up. And the speckled trout is actually quite a bit more simple than the redfish is. So I'll start by making that same cut right here, all the way down to the spine. You're gonna wanna go down into that cut you made, turn your knife sideways, find that spine, and then you're gonna wanna flex your blade out and run it along that bone structure. Typically, I'll just use the head and the gills as a handle to kind of hold on to. You're gonna run that blade right through the ribs, and then when you get down here towards the back of the fish, past the gut cavity, you're gonna wanna make sure that you also flex that blade out against the anal fin as well, and just run it right along that spine, just like that. And you can separate that fillet there, and we're gonna do the same thing on this side. This is very similar to how I fillet like a freshwater salmon, or even a freshwater trout for that matter. When you look at this, your knife should be running right over the top of the dorsal fins, and then when you get down here, it should be going right over the top of the anal fins as well. And that's how you know you're in the right spot and not wasting a bunch of meat. And we're gonna find where those ribs are. We're gonna get up underneath those ribs, and we're gonna work that super shallow right under those bones down towards the belly of the fish. And that's gonna remove not only those bones, but it's gonna remove any of that gut tissue that's gonna be down there near the belly. And the key to getting a good cut on that really is just having a good sharp fillet knife, and then again, keeping it nice and flat. If you feel yourself starting to cut through the skin, you're probably tilting that knife that direction and you need to flatten it out. If you feel yourself cutting up into the meat and wasting meat on the skin, you probably have your knife tilted up and you need to tilt it down like that. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm super stoked that we were able to catch not only a slot speckled trout, but a slot redfish too. A lot of fun today, guys. Again, shout out to Southern Salt. Thank you, guys. All the stuff I used today, including those baits, will be linked down in the description, so go check that out. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one.